At the moment I'm at the Großglockner mountain road and I'm 2,430 meters above sea level. I mean, I can tell you it's freezing cold and I didn't expect to be here today. Magna called me and said, Lars, do you want to drive our new system called EtelligentReach to see how efficient our new battery electric vehicle is? And I said, for sure I will. And then they told me we have to do that not on a public but on a closed road because it's not a standard car. And I said, fine. And so they say, okay, we pick you up at Salzburg. We drive to a special place in the Austrian mountains and there you're allowed to drive their car. And then we ended up here. And to see the whole story, just stay tuned. So now we're on our way from Salzburg to the Großglockner mountain road in our battery electric vehicle, but this is a demonstration car. And together with me in the car is Simon Keimer. He's part of the product management of Magna Powertrains. And the idea of our today's road trip is to present how the near future of battery electric vehicle powertrains will look like and what engineers do to achieve their targets to present us the cars of the future. On our way, we're going to pick up Walter Sackel, who is his boss. And Walter promised me to have let's say a big surprise, something special we're going to do today with that car to show even more what the car is capable of today. And I hope you stay tuned because this is something interesting for everybody who's interested in electric vehicles, because this is the car or the technology you're going to buy tomorrow. Simon, when we're talking about the demonstrator vehicle we're driving in at the moment, this is a car with two quite powerful motors. We're talking about all-wheel drive, but on the other hand, when we talk about the BEV, we're talking about being as efficient as even possible. How does this work in this kind of a vehicle?
Yeah, it's actually two aspects you have to keep in mind. The first one is the efficiency characteristic of the drive system of the electric motor itself that is optimized for a certain purpose. And the second aspect is the so-called decoupling feature. This means in this car we have a decoupling capable front axle, allowing us for completely disconnecting the electric motor and the gear set from the wheels as long as the overdrive is not necessary. But on the other hand, we can reconnect or fast reconnect the front axle as soon as overdrive is necessary, and this is allowing us for a relevantly reduced drag torque, giving us a high number of efficiency improvement in real life, but also in the cycle, of course.
Simon, we're talking about the car and the powertrain and the technology, and this is named EtelligentReach. What is this more than just decoupling?
Yeah, EtelligentReach is a function or a function package, let me say it this way, consisting of hardware and software. If you look on the hardware side, of course we have the e-motor, the inverter, the gearbox, the decoupling, the torque vectoring on the rear axle as well, and the related inverter software to control the component. But on the other hand, we also have the vehicle high-level control, as it is called, or the operational strategy, making the best out of the hardware and providing a very attractive functional package.
We do have a tablet in this car where we can see the whole powertrain or parts of the powertrain. And Simon, can you explain what we're going to see when?
Yeah, in general, we are indicating the whole status of our drivetrain. On the front axle, but also on the rear axle, we are indicating torques and we are indicating power. And in addition, we are indicating the system status of the decoupling capable front axle. This means if the front axle is highlighted in green as now, the axle is completely, or the electric motor is completely disconnected from the wheels. We can also see the speed of the front e-motor, which is 0 RPM at this condition. And in real life, as you see now, most of the time, about 95% of the mileage we will stay in two-wheel drive. But then it's different events triggering a Reconnect. And the first one, which is happening quite often, of course, is the tip-in. Means if we are requesting a high longitudinal acceleration, the system power of both e-motors is relevant. So the e-motor, the second e-motor, is connected to take part in the acceleration. The second maneuver is the so-called lateral dynamics reconnect. This means if I turn in a certain corner, and if the physical vehicle model feels we are coming close to the physical limit, we are predictively reconnecting to provide the full all-wheel drive safety and traction. And the third one is the so-called reactive coupling event, which is typically triggered by slip. This means if we are once at a sudden hitting a very slippery surface and icy spot, we would immediately react on the wheel speed or on the calculated slip and bring the second motor up to speed. So Walter, what we're going to do next with Lars, what we're going to show him?
Yeah, it is a major surprise for Lars. We got a track to the Großglockner exclusively for today, so we will be able to have some fun on that road up to the mountains.
Oh, that's really great. So we can really show the whole torque vectoring capability in terms of controllability, safety, and maybe also a bit in terms of performance?
Sure, but on top to that, we also can show that the energy efficiency is great in these Alps. So all the energy used to get up, we can also regenerate when going down again.
Hi guys, Walter. Walter, you told me we're gonna have a special road. This is a mountain road and that is completely shut down. You really want to go uphill with an electric car?
Sure, exclusively for you today, we have this road here prepared for us to drive with that car here on top to the mountain, down again, and also to regenerate all the energy we use to get up.
Magna is not only building powertrains, they also build complete cars like the Jaguar I-Pace. And this is the reason why they use this shell. And this is not more than just a shell, because underneath most of it is Magna. And with this, it's also the future of BEV technology. How about the part of safety in the car?
Well, through the longitudinal and so front-rear and left-to-right torque vectoring function, we manage to equip all the 4 Vs with a power where they are capable for, so to transmit torque and forces to the road. And this is very different on different conditions, but we manage to distribute it in a way that they are always covered with a power which makes sense. So there's not one tire which is not acting accordingly and the other one is overloaded. And with that you have a next level of safety. It adds about 15% of safety margin compared to the traditional method of distributing torque and power to the wheel.
Okay. And we'll talk about this torque vectoring. How about driving dynamics, so using that for a bit sporty drive?
Sure. The torque vectoring function is also improving steering response, so at step steer, getting into the curve, but also to straighten the car by heading to the next incline here.
So this is something I really have to tell you. It's driving that car. I very often say during my test drive that the car reacts quite instantly. But with that one here, the car not only reacts instantly, it really drives exactly where you want the car to be in time, which means there's no delay, and that really gives you loads of comfort, loads of, quite a nice feeling, even when you drive a bit more dynamic.
Right, so yeah, the confidence comes with the response and also with the response time, which we can improve with these torque vectoring effects.
And I think now we try what it means to drive a bit more sporty.
So push it a bit to the limits and you will feel very, very safe still while going here upwards to the mountains.
So now we're driving a turn and Walter always says push it earlier and push it harder.
Push it
And we push it
in
now.
order to smoothly accelerate here to the next incline.
Now we want to answer some questions out of the Magna Facebook group. And the first one is, how about charging in an area like this? And I can tell you there are charging opportunities here, and there will be one at the top of the hill in the near future. But we're going to tell you a bit more about that when we finish our drive. Another one which I have to ask Walter about is somebody want to know if there is any, let's say, decrease in range when we go uphill with an electric car.
Yeah, well, sure. So if we want to bring that car to the top of the mountain, it needs more energy, sure. However, if we go down, we regenerate that energy again into the battery system. So at the end, overall, in a nutshell, it's very similar like driving on the standard road here downstairs.
Now we have another question out of the Facebook group, one which I want to ask Simon about. Simon, they want to know if the temperature and the height above sea level does have any impact on the battery and with that on the range of the electric car.
So let's start with the easier question, which is the altitude or the height above sea level, which is typically really affecting the ICE-driven vehicles, but it's not indeed affecting the battery-driven vehicles, which is a good factor or a good aspect. The other question is the temperature. We have to have two things in mind. One is the efficiency of the e-drive, which is pretty similar between typical average temperature in summer and in winter. And the other is the aspect that, of course, you need to heat in winter, and you do this electrically with a couple of kilowatts, and this is, of course, lowering the state of charge and cutting some range.
Walter, that's it. We did it. And as you can see, if you want to go uphill, you can charge your car right here. How about charging before we go to Salzburg?
Well, Lars, we regenerated that much energy now by going down, so there is no need for any charging yet. So just go ahead and enjoy your drive.
That was my day with the MAGNA EtelligentReach demonstration vehicle, and we started the day with our trip from Salzburg to the Großglockner mountain road on standard roads, and the car was so easy to drive, so quiet, so smooth and so efficient. Then we went uphill, quite dynamic, quite sporty, and even though we had bad conditions, the car just stays on the road easily, and it was really impossible to put it into its limits. And when we then went downhill again, we recuperated so much energy. And I can tell you something that really will stay in my mind from that day. You don't have to decide anymore if you want a very dynamic car or a very safe car or a very efficient car, because with that one on board, you can have all.